Esther Passaris introducing this new bill. Sijui demonstrators regulation, what bill? I don't even know what it's called. Basically a bill to limit the things, activities, time zones, where, what, the things you could be doing, or demonstrators. Yani to limit Kenyans from demonstrating or how they demonstrate or whatever that thing. Hata sijui. Yani my mind imeikataa mpaka hata nilikuwa na watch news nikifanya tu Anyway, and I've just been saying this. And by the way, those of you who've been keen to listen on my journey, the last 2.5 years that I've been in that house, the Senate, I've been saying, first of all, Parliament has been captured. That one, let me be the one to tell you. The bills, the regulations, the laws, and every single agenda that is being pushed in Parliament has got nothing to do with what the people have. Not everything, obviously, but the ones that get to pass, the ones that get to see the light of day. There's some very important bills there that could have helped at a situation like this where we are at as a country. For instance, I've seen a video circulating of this gentleman talking about he knows that the person who stole that firearm from a police station, from a policeman, is actually a police officer who stole. And he was talking about, he has seen, hiyo ilikuwa kipindi imepangwa na police officers, na nini na nini. That person right now is fearing for their lives. Do you know that Parliament, there is a bill called the Whistleblower Protection Bill? I was the sponsor in the Senate. This is not about me. I'm just trying to give you a juxtaposition. Before they decided that is not a bill that can originate from Senate and it has to go to the National Assembly, that is a bill that I was pushing. Now let me tell you something. That bill, because ilikuwa inaonyesha venye ita regulate vitu nyingi, including the illegal arrests of people who are whistleblowing on corruption, on police brutality, on illegal ongoings in government and everywhere. Iyo bill mpaka saizi, let me tell you, it is not going to see the light of day, which is the sad thing. And then Mheshimiwa Passaris, a person I respect, a person who even at one point I would, you know, once in a while here and there, ask for advice. How do you agree, Mheshimiwa Passaris? How do you agree kutumika kukua ati sponsor wa ujinga kama hiyo ya kuregulate demonstrators? You know, you are spitting in the face of Kenyans because demonstrators went out peacefully. The issue that we are having is the goons that are always infiltrating peaceful demonstrations. And that has nothing to do with the actions of the demonstrators. That has everything to do with the lapse in the security sector. And now, instead of you going back to, because we have committees of regulations, delegated legislation that deals with regulations, why don't you go to the committees of delegated legislation in the National Assembly, because you're in the National Assembly, and try to figure out how a regulation can be introduced to make sure that the excesses in the police force are captured, such that there is a regulation that puts such high repercussions, instant repercussions to a police officer if they choose to just go rogue on the streets. That way, at the end of the day, you are going to be dealing with the rogue police officers. Why don't you ask yourself why we always have a security lapse every time? We have seen goons being carried. Goons have been carried by police vehicles. Mheshimiwa Passaris, why don't you actually look for a bill that is going to make sure that the police can never, the consequences of the police colluding with any other forces, like all this militia and whatever, are so dire that even the police officer who's being told to endesha hiyo gari upeleke hao watu hapa will not dare. You know what I mean? Instead, I get that there's a lot of pressure, especially now that you're in the broad-based government and you guys are saying it's your time to eat. I get there's a lot of pressure, but that's the same pressure walikuwa wananiwekeanga telling me, go to TV, speak about this, go to TV. Speak. But at one point I would be like, no, I'm not going to speak about that. That's not right. And at one point I'd be like, no, I don't support that. So don't expect to get my support on that. Why would you bite the bullet for such an insulting bill? And you know, you guys think Passaris is stupid. Passaris is not stupid. She is one of the smartest legislators. Why would you accept Esther Passaris to bite the bullet? How come they have not given a man? Even though wanawake wanatumika vibaya. Why haven't they given a man? You and I are both mothers. We have children. We know exactly what is happening in the streets. We know that our peaceful youth, I have a Gen Z. My son is 17 years old. I have nephews and nieces who are in the streets every time there's demonstration. My son actually does not support, has never supported this government. And I know how to deal with it. I normally tell him, you know, it is your democratic right. You can do this and that. Passaris, you have children. How come you personally are being used as a woman. Why can't they give that bill to a man to push? Because they know it's bullshit. Why are you accepting to be the fall of this